There we go.
Okay.
Are you going to be on this one? Oh, I wasn't sure.
I think you have things worth saying.
I tried to say to get a different spot. But,
I promise I showered this morning.
huh?
I showered this morning.
Don't worry, I'll walk you through.
Okay, well, do you want to kick us off, please?
Okay.
Berta, please.
Hello and welcome to our panel.
Do you want the mic? Is the mic on?
Do we need the mic?
If you speak up, probably.
Can people hear me? Okay. We are Lost Tribes Gaming. We're a gaming tabletop group. We stream on Twitch and YouTube, and you can also find us on Facebook. As a group, we all sort of came into it at different times, but Lost Tribe Gaming has been around for
2018.
8 years.
Yeah.
8 years. So our panel today is about building your game. So like putting a game together. I guess we'll do some brief introductions in case you're interested. My name's Brittany. Sort of moderating tonight. I've been with Lost Tribes Gaming since 2018. Playing most of the games we do. We've been through a number of different systems. Currently, we're playing D&D 5th Edition, Marvel Superheroes, Star Wars, and a mixed World of Darkness game. So, not just vampires, not just werewolves, kind of a smattering of lots of different things. So, I'm Brittany. I'm just a player, but I'm also an artist and a writer and a costumer. So, those are my credentials.
I'm Abby. I've been playing with Lost Tribes Gaming for 4 years. I am the youngest player so far. And I also play in a family-friendly Dungeons & Dragons podcast called Tomes of the Chaos Bard. We've been going for about 5 years, and we have over 100,000 downloads and some of those credentials. I also am a mother of 3. Kind of an artist, not compared to these two though. And I love TTRPGs. Been playing since 2015.
Hello, my name is Jorge Santiago, or you can call me George. I've been playing with Lost Tribes Gaming. I don't remember how long. I'm bad at math.
Hashtag not a math major.
Yeah, I went to art school twice. Bachelor's and then master's.
Okay, but
Yeah.
we got to say that.
Yeah, no.
Or it sounds like you failed art school and tried again.
I went to art school 2 times.
Yeah,
It worked the second time.
Yeah, I really got the hang of it the second time. But yeah, I draw comics. I'm a webcomic called Curse the Eel on Tapas. I'm also an educator. I teach art and animation at Kennesaw State University. And yeah, I love role-playing games. It's telling stories with friends.
And I'm David. I am the DM for Tomes of the Chaos Bard. That is my lovely wife. We've been doing that show, as she said, about 5 years. We started about at the same time, pretty much playing. And I'm an electrician by trade. I love doing things with my hands. And I enjoy the co-creation of stories with Dungeons & Dragons, any TTRPG. That's what I really enjoy.
My name is Jerome Lambert. I am in Phoenix, Arizona. I am a regular human dungeon master. Lies, yeah. I've been doing this for almost 40 years now. With Lost Tribes Gaming, of course, we started that in 2018. And Brittany's already kind of named off our games. We've also had Rifts, which if you're familiar with that one, that's another game out there. We did Firefly, which is another one we did. We've also done, we did, using the Dungeons & Dragons 5e rules, we played some Mass Effect. There's a great set of
A nice homebrew
fan
online.
homebrewed Mass Effect rules that are
Those
free to
fun.
download. Just be wary, it's a big download, but it's completely free. And yeah, so I enjoy, I'm a forever DM. I love running stories, making stories, surprising my players and friends, and doing my darndest to keep them guessing and enjoying the game. So. But that's
So-
actually why we're here.
So just to start with, if you have any questions that you would, like, we have like some talking points that we can go over, but if there's something specific that you would like to know, we would like to help you out. So if at any point you have questions or something that we haven't addressed that you would like to have us address, just raise your hand, we'll be happy to talk. So is there anything, like any burning topics that you would like us to cover just off the bat? Okay, well, we'll start talking, oh yeah,
I
okay,
got one.
Sure.
I did like one campaign. I'm a very new player.
Okay.
I did one campaign with my friends, and we had a GM who was super experienced. Unfortunately, our group kind of fell apart. So
That happens.
I got super invested though. I built like this map, big backstory of my character, and I was like, oh, it'd be cool. I really want to play more, but like. I think it seems like the constrained resource is the DM. So I'd like to learn how to DM. I was just curious, like, what suggestions you have for someone who wants to get into DMing.
okay.
I
Do you know what game you want to start? Like
D&D,
D&D fighting.
Yeah.
Perfect. I'll start because
Go for
I
it.
know how I got introduced to Dungeons & Dragons was as a player, and I'm similar to you. I just caught the fire, and I wanted to teach my friends how to play. One thing that really helped me learn is listening to actual play podcasts, actual D&D podcasts, or kind of any TTRPG ones. I learned from Sneak Attack, I learned from Bombarded, I learned from a few others, because they all have different DM styles. And from them, I was able to pick, okay, I really like how they do it, I really like how they do it, and you kind of get experience, like a bird's eye view experience, what kind of chaos their players can make, and how they deal with it. So I know that was for me. It was good to see how other DMs reacted to different things, and then I implemented, took what I liked, changed maybe a tweak or two on how they did certain things, and that's how I learned how to DM as well.
The very
Being
first,
forgiving for yourself too, because you as a DM will make lots of mistakes.
one of the first things we ran was just the very first adventure in the Fandelver's Mine. And so learning how...
It's a module.
Yeah, it's a module.
It's part of their starter set.
It's part of the D&D starter set, is the Mines of Fandelver. And it's a really good, that first adventure is a really good one to get started, so you kind of know how to set up a game. Yeah.
Because I also use that as well.
What was it called?
The
Mine-
Mines of Fandelver, or the D&D starter set.
Oh, okay.
So newer players might not know this, but back in the old days of D&D, most people had modules to play from. Those are like pre-written adventures, so you could just pick it up and like go through like a script. I don't know. I mean, I assume they still make them,
Yeah, they do.
So,
but like I know
not
most
like
people.
what they used to. Before
Yeah.
before they were equivalent to like a comic book, they were really thin and whatnot. And now the like, starter sets and the new adventure modules are basically books. And they tend to take you from like 1 up to like 15.
and
So
you
if
do
you're-
not have to follow the story, but they have like how to set up the dungeons and how to have the NPCs interact with each other and that sort of world building sort of aspect of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was kind of the intimidating part. It was like I was like looking into some of the kind of like preset was like, oh, it'd be nice to start with like a preset story. And they were like, that. I was like,
The
oh.
Minecraft Delver is a really thin book.
Okay.
It
And
goes
it-
up to like level 5.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's pretty manageable for someone
Yes.
who's trying to compare.
Yeah, that was the point of their starter sets. They learned from my era,
I think
those mistakes.
I was in a similar boat as you where I was playing with a group and then our DM didn't want to play with us anymore. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll take over the DMing duties. And yeah, the books are, like you can check out other, like I agree with you, watching other people DM, so that way you can kind of see what your style of play is. But I think also one of the things that's really helpful is also to think about, okay, well, what kind of game do you want to play? Because I think like if you go into like, think about like Lord of the Rings versus like Game of Thrones. They're both fantasy, but they're very different. Do you want something to be very combat heavy? Do you want it to be adventure, like it's just people going out into the world to find lost ruins, or do you want to do like political drama stuff? I think the important thing too, as you start to DM, is also to make those decisions about what kind of game do you want to make, and then finding inspiration and resources. And like there are so many really great, like for example, I'm not the greatest at designing dungeons, but like there are so many awesome like people out there who just make dungeon maps, and like you can get them on also like what Jerome was saying, like if you go to like the official D&D books, like they do come like a full-on module that's like take you from level 1 to level 15, but if you go to
DM's Guild?
yeah, the DM's Guild, there are people who make like short one-shot Dungeons and Dragons adventures that you can pick up. They have maps, they have art included, they have all the NPCs and all that stuff. The DM's Guild's a great place to get
what is that, drive-through-RPG.com?
drive-through, yeah.
Is another one.
That's another great
They're
place.
basically the same thing.
Okay.
Except one focuses on, I'm literally, if you have a login for one, you have to have the other.
Okay,
They're all
cool.
on that same company.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it just one focuses on D&D, the other one focuses on White Wolf Games and Storytelling Hall.
Okay.
And then you have TTRPG, which has like, or drive-through RPG, I should say, has all,
Yeah.
access to all.
That's the one I'm a part of, Drive-Thru RPG. I was like, I couldn't remember the name.
Candlekeep Mysteries is also a really good beginner-friendly one.
Mhm.
So if you type in D&D modules 5e in Amazon, it brings up like a list of over 100. So yeah.
Oh, and also, since you're beginning, Amazon usually has really good deals on D&D specific books. I think they probably buy them in bulk or something for resale. Like I went because I've been running games for a long time, but I got into D&D finally late. So by the time and this was a couple of years ago, or several years ago actually at this point, I ended up getting the player's handbook like half off. Like, I mean, and that's the actual book, not the PDF or whatnot. So yeah, brand new. So if you scope that out, if you find you need the books or something, I would check Amazon first, because they'll probably have some really good deal.
Okay.
Also Facebook Marketplace, because people are not playing anymore because of DM or something.
Or like Bookman's has a lot of.
Bookman's is another good
RPG
resource,
stuff.
especially for Dungeons and Dragons stuff.
Yeah.
It's frequently offloaded there. But resources also. Don't be afraid. Like if you just because you mentioned you started like designing your own world and what? Did I hear you correctly?
What? Sorry.
Did you say you started creating your own world? Like you
Oh,
had
so I got really, I got hyper invested into it because I'd been wanting to get into it a while, so I was excited I had a group finally. So I built like this, it was like a modular map set out of poster boards, and it was 3D. You could build like any kind of map off of it.
Gotcha.
By moving the pieces around and stuff.
Yeah, because I was going to say there are some map softwares out there that are super easy to use that really adds depth to the game. Because it's like like when I first started making my first homebrew, which was not that long ago. That was one of the first things I looked up. I was like, I want a good map. I want something that people, when they look at it, they go like, oh, this looks cool. And I ended up, the name of it, Wonder Draft, I think is the name of the one that I use. And it's super easy. There's tutorials on YouTube, and it will, you can even have it generate like the base, like land mass and water, and then it has obviously all the icons you can add from there to spruce it up and make it look better, or add rivers and whatnot. So it will definitely give you the jump on it, and I've never done it before in my life. And the map that I turned out, I thought looked pretty darn good. So.
Another great resource, sorry to dump on, but Dungeon Masters Block is a D&D 5e podcast, and they have different DMs come on and talk about their specific niches, but they also talk about world building and just tons of storytelling criteria. So great resources.
Yeah. So great question, but that's a good segue into topic number one. If somebody else has any other questions.
So does anybody have issues like wanting to find an existing group, or like wanting to play and like wondering how to find people to play with?
Or repair an existing group that may only have like 2 people that want to play and nobody else. All that's applicable.
So let's talk about, do you have a specific question, or should we just like keep talking?
Okay.
Oh, me? Oh, no. I was listening.
Or just,
Okay.
yeah.
Let's talk about like where to find people to play with.
Well, first off, start with your peer group, those people around you. If they know that you're into a thing, they may be into the thing as well. Naturally, you know, it's usually pretty hit or miss. D&D's got a bit more of a PR push, even as we go through time. It's a little bit cooler, at least for people who try it once. But I would start with like your peer group first. Definitely curate the people you're trying to bring in. Don't just, it's a term that got coined in MMOs, pickup groups, right? Essentially, like if you're my age, that's all you had. That's all the options you like. If somebody heard word of mouth of Dungeons and Dragons and they wanted to try it, that was really it. And that meant you ran into a lot of people who sucked. I'm not going to mince my words. And I don't mean that isn't that they were bad players, they were bad human beings. And it could start small from, nitpickiness, when you're trying to play, deception, just being, thank you, or just being generally not nice people at the table, to being some really psycho host beasts, for lack of a better term. I've run into quite a few, and the same thing with your dungeon master. So once you've run out of your peer group, that's when you should probably start looking at like online groups. You can sometimes hit up Facebook groups or join Discord channels that are essentially nothing but looking for players. And you can parse it down to see if they're doing it locally, like if you want to play face to face. I gave up on that when I formed Lost Tribes Gaming, because I found 2 big benefits to not being directly in front of people the whole time. One, you're not dealing with travel time to and fro, right? 2, you're not worried. You don't have to worry about getting dressed up, or you can just go anywhere. So essentially the same pros. Essentially the same pros for telecommuting from work, right? And then 3, and this is the big one. When you're done, because you're not traveling, roll over, go to bed. Or whatever else that you need to do, like at that point, go get a drink or whatnot. You're in a more chill and relaxed environment. And the added benefit is if you start getting a decent curated group of people, They can be anywhere in the world so long as they can hit your time schedule. And it
then
works.
maybe
If you're
someday
diligent,
they can come
it
and do a
works.
panel with you at a convention.
Yeah, like we're doing here today. They're from Utah. He's from Georgia. He's from Alabama. She's from here.
I think another thing to consider, like going along with what Jerome is saying, is when you're deciding who you want to play with, make sure that you have those initial talks about kind of what you expect from the game and also what they expect from the game. Like the first group that I DM'd for, I love those people with all my heart, but playing with them was very difficult because the way that they wanted to play the game was they wanted to treat it like it was, we mentioned our first panel, like Grand Theft Auto, or like a more
like
chaotic,
a video game.
yeah, like a very chaotic Skyrim. They wanted to pick every pocket. They wanted to murder every NPC that wronged them for daring to be like, hey, stop doing crime. But like, because the way that people, when they play games like that, they're like, okay, well, this is the kind of like
Video game mentality.
yeah, they want that kind of outlet, and so like when you're make sure that the kind of game that you want to have, like if you want to have a very like story focused game, make sure that you're upfront about that with your group, because not everybody is expecting, they want especially if their idea of D&D is like what they've seen on Stranger Things, or even like in other things like in Critical Role, that can be a problem if the expectations of like what the game is are not lining up. And so I think that's the other thing too, is think about, what kind of game do you want to run, and then find those people that want to be a part of it. Start with people that you know, and then you can always branch out from there. Like I run a game for some very close friends of mine, and when the group got pared down because it had to be, we ended up finding other people that were close, like kind of like branches off from the people who were already in the group, who were like, hey, this person would fit really well in with the group, and then you can build your group that way.
Which is actually how I started playing Lost Tribes Gaming.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I knew Brittany from college the second time.
Yeah.
I also went to art school twice.
Yeah. And then barring that, I think another, especially for D&D, another good option is this one can be very hit or miss. I've had good and bad experiences with this, but is the Adventurers League. Is you can go to gaming stores, and like on Wednesdays they'll usually have like they'll have like DMs who are running pre-written like official module stuff, and you can find groups there. I've been in groups that have been amazing, and I've been in groups that have been less than amazing. But I have also made like lifelong friends doing it. So I think if you're not afraid of going to a store and playing with strangers, you can actually, some people that I still play with to this day, I've met at Adventures League, and they're the coolest people. But it can be, but there's also there's people there who are there to make sure it doesn't turn into, a nightmare. Whereas back in the old days, if you were like, oh yeah, go to this person's house where they are the keeper of the D&D, that could get weird real fast. But yeah.
To add on that real quick, another thing you can do, and this is what I did both times. When I first moved out here in 2001, I knew one person. The person I was living with at the time. And so I looked at it and I went, how am I going to meet a bunch of people who probably got similar interests that I do and make a bunch of friends? I went to a LARP. That's what I started
What
off
does
at.
LARP stand for?
Why, thank you, Brittany. Live action role play.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah, in this particular case, the LARP was vampire based. That can also be hit or miss. Again, it's open. It's a pickup group. You might find people who are busybodies or biased or whatever have you. Then you might actually find, like me, find some people that are just gems. That are just great human beings. And then later. Not that I need to get into this particular point, but when I was kind of restarting my life a little bit about almost 15 years ago, I did the same thing. It's like, okay, well, I want to go get invested in something else. How can I meet more people? I joined a cosplay community, and next thing you know, I am, attached to like over 100 some odd people, and at that point, I wasn't really running any games. But somehow word got out that I did do that thing, and because I am a dungeon master, and as anybody who run games knows, it's hard to find one. They started coming up to me like I was the free candy van. And serious, I would get this, hey, so I heard you do the role play thing. You do Dungeons and Dragons? I'm like, am I supposed to give you like a white baggie with dice in it? Like what? But slowly but surely people started finding out that that's what I did, and lo and behold, I found some more amazing. I mean, I found more amazing people even outside of gaming in that particular group. But somebody like Brittany in this particular group here is kind of what tied all that together. Like I met her through those clubs, which then led to George, which then shortly thereafter led to Abby and Dave, and then I managed to hook back up with Mike many years later, and get and loop him in. Same thing with Callie. Oddly enough, true story. There were chats that were dedicated to like vampire and werewolf and whatnot from the company that made it. And I actually first met Callie way back in the late 90s in those. And we ended up finding out that we knew each other at a party that somebody was throwing. Specifically, it was like a meetup group, specifically so other gamers could meet. So, I mean, you never know how it's going to turn around. I just cannot stress enough that you want to curate the group of people that are in your game. How you do that is up to you. If it's a vibe, if it's, I don't know if I would recommend doing a checklist or something and say, hey, this is what I like. I mean, some of them that are floating around.
You might want to check schedules, see if you can all play at the same time.
Obviously, yeah, there's that, but I'm meaning more personality-wise. When I say curated, schedules can be worked around, right? But if you find that there are people that are just, for whatever reason, diametrically opposed to something that you like, right, or that's something you want to do, or maybe kind of like what we've hinted at, you find people that they just treat it more like a joke in a video game and not really something you want to dig your teeth in, you probably don't want to role play with them. You don't want to get stuck in a group with them. Because ultimately, in my opinion, when people come to role play and throw some dice and make a character and whatnot, you're trying to step out of the life that you're in right now. It really is a form of escapism. And the last thing you want to do is worry about the person next to you in your escapism, right? You're trying to have fun with a group, not worry about the next level of drama, or did I chew with my mouth open, or whatever weird thing might be happening at the game table. Am I wearing an appropriate shirt? Do they like my shoes? Like whatever, I'm not going to name any names, but I had a guy who really wanted me to run a game, and I got a game for Pathfinder. And this guy is an amazing human being. Never say anything bad about him. But he was so ecstatic, so over the top, and just I would like to think he was enjoying himself, but he was cracking so many jokes. Okay. That the game became, like, I didn't even get past game 2. Like, it was just, it was impossible to get forward progress. It was a constant distraction. Other people were laughing, So sometimes it's not even just that they're a bad person. Sometimes they may not just be ready to actually play. So it's important that when you get to that point, you're forming your group and you start to meet new people, make sure you're on the same page.
Which goes back to what George was saying is you make sure that you set those expectations ahead of time. Like this isn't a video game, sort of explain, like this is a combined storytelling mode. maybe, educate them a little bit before you start to play. A session 0 is really helpful to kind of get the community together. Also, Dungeon Master interviews, we lovingly like, so that you know what they want out of the game too, is really helpful.
That actually segues into our next point. Let's talk about session 0. What happens during session 0? What is it? Do you need it?
The
Let's talk
origin
about that.
story.
I think it's very highly recommended that you do session 0s. And for those who don't know what a session 0 is, it's pretty much when you get with your group and say, okay, what kind of game do we want to play? Do we want a high adventure? Do we want heavy combat? Do we want political? Kind of get their feel on it.
Yeah, set the tone and the genre.
Yeah. And then also, that's where you can collaborate with each other as players. I know you because we served at the tavern together, or we served on the farm together, or military. You can connect your backgrounds, and then when you start playing...
A character web.
Character web. So when you start playing, your characters are already connected. I've been part of games where we just show up, and it's just like, we're all strangers, and we're all that.
And we all go.
Yeah, I don't want to talk to you, because you're a stranger.
It takes a while for everybody to kind of break through the shell and figure out, how they mesh together.
And emphasize, and I don't mean to interrupt, but that's not bad either. Some games, like if you start off as prisoners, for example, maybe that's the opening backstory. You're probably not going to know each other, but...
Skyrim's a great example
Right.
of beginning a game.
but a session 0 in that particular case is you just sitting down like, okay, I'm in for theft. Well, I'm in accused of murder. I'm some other high crime. You're just kind of laying out some bare bones. You're like, okay, well now you can kind of start getting a feel for people.
So
and
you're
then
saying...
Meet in a tavern.
So you're saying the way that your characters are going to act out of the gate is kind of something that you establish, this is the sort of story that we're going to start telling?
Yes, you 100% in session 0s could do that. Do any of you collect comic books at all? Okay, so then you're familiar with Zero Issue. Yeah, essentially it's the same thing. It's a quick snapshot of like what happened before the main story arc.
So, I'm with them. But this is what I went to school for twice. In management science, they talk about group formation, right? I have 2 business degrees. So there's 4 phases. And they rhyme. So it's forming, storming, norming, and performing. And this is true of any group that gets together, even a group of friends. If you're trying to do one thing, you could group building a house, right? Unless you built a bunch of houses before, you're gonna get together and then you're gonna fight. And I mean, not bad, but it's a normal part of a group dynamic. So the whole session 0 thing helps work through that. It's like, nobody's playing a healer, and whatever. So whatever disagreements you might have that would come out in game and like maybe derail the game, you can have them in session 0 and say, this is what I want, well, this is what I want. Maybe you have 2 characters playing or 2 people playing the exact same thing and they don't want to mirror somebody else. So that's the value the session 0 gives you, is that you can get a lot of that storming out of the way, and then it's going to take a game or 2 before you're norming. People are used to each other, and then they're a cohesive unit and they go through your story.
It helps to have food at session 0 too.
I think
Jerome.
Food is a tried and true element of gaming.
I think another thing about a session 0, in addition to like what is the story that you're telling, is also important to set what are the boundaries of what kind of game you want it to be. Like, there's a lot of fantasy out there, and some of it is like, are you guys going to do like super horror? Are you going to do something that's really gory? Is this going to be a comedy? Setting the stage for that thing, for those things, and like the stuff that you're okay with and the stuff you're not okay with, I think is very important. Like, for example, I was DMing a game for some people who had never played D&D, but they really wanted to. And we had a session 0 to talk about, okay, well, not just like where your characters are in the setting, but also like what kind of monsters are you okay with me putting in? Because very early on, one of them said, I have arachnophobia. So I know, okay, don't put any spider monsters in there. So even that like can be very good to making sure that everybody is is having fun, and that, you know, you're not stepping on any toes, you know, and just making sure that everyone's having a good time. Yeah, but that's just another thing I think is also, you know, because even like video games, like have things that go, they can turn arachnophobia mode on to where spider monsters won't look like spiders, you know, but
You need to point out your players' triggers, like arachnophobia, or I hate children sacrificing. You know, we were in a game and a DM was having a hag and they were sacrificing children, and I was just so uncomfortable the entire time. I'm like, I don't want to play. So, getting your character's triggers, well, not even just not your characters, your players' triggers. What do you not want to see in a game so that you can pass that off?
Maybe establish like a rating, like our game is going to stay PG-13, or
Yeah,
like
that's really helped, yeah.
if you're streaming, are you going to use profanity? Is that something that you're, you know, are you an all ages group? Different parameters.
And to piggyback off of what Abby said, along those lines, and this again for the whole like curating the group and talking to people and or setting up to session 0 and whatnot. Also, don't be afraid to tell them, like, to whether you're dungeon master or if you're a player or whatever have you. It's okay to talk about it after the game. Try not to jump up with whatever the problem is and disrupt immediately. Because once you start doing that as either as players or a dungeon master, you're basically throwing everybody back out of the element of the joint story you were trying to form. Raising
your hand is one thing that we were taught in a game. Also doing the "no, I am not safe," crossing your arms like this, so the nonverbal cues. Also, we have a player that occasionally is like, I need to add something here, so he gets on his phone and goes, and then you hear the dungeon master's phone go beep beep, and we're like, and then they walk out and then come back in. It happens quite frequently. Yeah.
Well, and I would actually oppose against that again for the exact same reason.
It's a hit or miss.
Well, no, I understand, but the reason why I'm saying don't do it during the game is because once you start setting that as a precedent, you're going to start disrupting the game, and there's an element to some players who feel entitled to control the game in that sense. And if you are, especially like in your case, if you're a new DM and you're already self-conscious about mistakes that you might be starting to make, right? The last thing you want to do is start running into situations constantly where somebody is throwing up the sign or raising their hand or whatever, because now it takes the impetus away from you as a storyteller or anybody else in this particular case, that you have control of the game, you have control of the setting, you get everything going. It wrecks your
flow.
It wrecks your flow, but most importantly, your confidence. It even does it to me. So, like in my particular case, I set the rule like, okay, well, if something's happening, if it's a rule or whatever, and you're not okay with it or whatever that issue might be, come to me afterwards, and we can hash it out. We can figure it out. Like, help me understand what it was or what I can do better. And I've done that a number of times. And it's like, okay, cool. Yeah, I can wrap that up. Or, like for example, like if you're watching a movie, okay, it's a little bit easier this way. Like if it's gore, I have some people that don't like gore, so I would imagine if it's a TV show or it's a movie, they're going to do this, right? There's like, oh, or look through their fingers, whatever. If you're describing it in the midst of a game, it's kind of hard to do this because you can still hear the person, describing the scene or whatever have you. So again, it's one of those things that like just, when we have a moment, take me off the side as a dungeon master or game master, whatever.
Or text them after the game.
Yeah, or text or whatever. However you start feeling comfortable addressing that particular issue.
Yep.
The idea is not to not say anything. It's just to make sure that the game flow, at least in my opinion, game flow is still going. Dungeon Master still has control. Everybody understands that. But then Dungeon Master is still open to feedback.
Just to reiterate that, something it says in the player's handbook or the Dungeon Master guide for D&D 5e, it says the Dungeon Master always has the last say. So that they are the basically the narrator, the storyteller,
Referee.
they're the referee. referee is a good one. If they do have an issue or something, just hopefully they'll be able to talk it out, like what Jerome was saying.
And that, going on with the session 0, that's why I like to do DM interviews. It's because it's a good time to take players aside. Hey, we do ours once a year, and we go, hey, what have you liked this year? What have you not liked this year? What do you want to see more of? And that's a good opportunity for them to bring up those issues. Hey, there was this one session. Hopefully, it gets brought up before then. But it is a good
but you never know.
Exactly. It's a good time to get together one-on-one, and we've even done it as a group too. Hey, somebody brought up this concern. How does everybody feel? Oh yeah, we kind of feel the same way, but we didn't want to ruin your fun.
Yeah.
But recently we had ours, and my player said, let's ease up on some of the tenseness. And so I was like, okay, I'll ease up on it. It's a good way to do that, because this is a cooperative storytelling. It's everybody working together.
It's a big $3 secret.
Yes. And I wanted to have a $2 job.
I was going to say this is so the complaints and expectations. That's a great thing to bring up at your session 0 to talk about like what are the expectations and how do you want to handle those things.
I know we dumped a lot on you now. Do you have any questions?
I think also to note too is like, I think especially like with what Jerome is saying is like, because we stream our game on Twitch, and so like
Yeah, it is a little bit different than
Yeah.
We could not just stop and like, hey, no, this isn't safe
Right,
for me.
Yeah.
But I brought up a few things to Jerome after a game, and I'm like, can we not do that again, please?
Or in some cases, like to that point, I don't mean to jump over you there, George, but like sometimes it requires an explanation. Like, okay, I need you to hate this bad guy. That's why this is happening, right? It's not, gratification for gratification's sake. I'm not trying to be gory or foul or whatever. It's like there's a reason why he's doing it. You need to stop this guy. It's it's not it's not there just to irritate people or make them uncomfortable or whatnot. Like there's a purpose to it. Sometimes, like in stories, even when you like back in the day on cable TV when there was more strict guidelines, they would still tackle some of those things, right? But they would quickly like scene change, right? Or they would turn the camera and you'd still hear the sound, right? So sometimes that's a way to get around that sort of thing, but to still play up on the fact that this person is dastardly. So,
And often just the simple communication and connecting with your
Yes.
players on that one-on-one basis is all the player needs.
Yeah, communication is the most important thing.
Okay, let's talk about scheduling.
So,
The #1 enemy of role-playing games.
yeah.
Talk about it
often do
at
you-
session 0.
Yeah, how often do you recommend playing? And like, how do you figure out?
I'm 51 years old. I can't really handle more than 2 times a month,
2 times a month?
despite the fact that I'm running 4 games 2 times a month.
Per game, yeah.
Yeah, when I was younger, yeah, it was once a week, sometimes twice a week.
Are you saying just from like a fatigue point of view, or from like
And life,
planning
yeah,
point of
fatigue
view?
and life. No, I was still able to basically keep up with it. I'm actually able to do better by keeping up now, but no, it's life. I mean, as you get older, especially when you get out of school and whatnot, and you've got a job and you've got other people, like maybe you want to meet a boy, maybe you want to meet a girl, maybe you've got a trip with a family coming up, maybe you've got, whatever. I mean, sometimes it all plays a factor. It all starts to eat into the time that you have that you want to play these games. So I personally have found a good way to stay active in a game is once every 2 weeks. At least once every 2 weeks.
I would say once a month is definitely like you have a lag in between because you're like, oh crap, what happened? Because so much happens within a month. But I wouldn't. I'm going to say do not go longer. Because the most important part is you want to play consistently.
Yeah.
Don't at least do it once a month depending on your schedule. If you can do it every other week, do it, because it is easier to keep consistent in a game that way and keep it in your head. But don't go past 1 month, once a month, or because then people forget and people lose the story and then they lose interest.
I think if we're talking like home game stuff, like what my group does is that we have like in our Discord, we have like a scheduling channel, and then we like, okay, here are the weekends that are coming up that we can do it, and then we essentially all kind of vote on a weekend that we're all available for, and like we usually play like once a month that way. If we're talking like in a streaming capacity, or like what you guys do, like putting out the show, like you have to play, because like I've listened to some amazing D&D podcasts where they haven't updated in like a year, you know, and I'm like, what happens next? And so like
You have to be consistent.
yeah, if you're going to go into it as like a method of like content creation, I think that's another thing you kind of have to establish with the group of like, okay, what are the standards that we're willing to accept as a group, but also how do you handle when a person can't make it? Do you guys still play, even though like 2 people are missing in your 4-person group? Or, you know, do you skip? Like, how are you going to handle those things? And I think even in a home group, that's always good. Like, we have a thing in my home group where if one person can't make it, then we'll just play without them, and then I'll catch up that other person later, and we'll talk about what they were doing out on the side.
Do you play as though they were not there, or do you assume that their character was there with you? How do you handle it?
What I usually do is I will remove the character from the scene, so that way the other players don't have to feel responsible for them, and I don't have to like puppet their character. But that can also lead to cool moments where I had a player who was not able to make it because she had a very stressful job, but she still wanted to play. It was just the job was getting in the way, and so
She just quit her job.
who needs money?
That's the answer, clearly.
Yeah, but so by having like a nice like one-on-one session when she had time, we were able to establish, okay, well, your character was interacting with this whole group over here, and the other party, like during the main game, they were dealing with that group from like an outsider. We don't know what's going on with them, but this person essentially was going as like an insider in that group. So when the groups finally coalesced, they were able to go, oh, wait a minute, what are you doing with this group? Oh, well, I've been infiltrating them this whole time. So that way that player can still feel like they're a part of the story, even though they can't always, you know, but that's more work on the DM. You know, I like doing that kind of stuff, but you know, that's also more work on your end if you're gonna DM that kind of thing. But I think still setting those expectations about like, you know, are we streaming this? Is this going to be like a show, or is this for fun? If it's for fun, then you have more freedom to do it that way. But you know, with making sure that you're consistent with your stuff, if you are going to turn it into some form of content, that consistency, like Abby was saying, is super important, because you know, there's so many avenues of entertainment out there, and if you start skipping weeks, people will wonder, well, maybe you just vanished, you know. And the algorithms are always, they favor repetition. So the more inconsistent you get, the less return you get over time. Or at least building it back up is difficult.
Well, to that point, and some people may hate me for saying this, but I developed an attendance guideline for my particular games. It's not because I want to be a jerk. It's not because I'm the psycho host beast, as I mentioned before. But it's because, one, I want a higher quality for my games, but I also want higher quality for my players. Because I've run into so many games, and I'm sure some of you have run into this before. You start a game, right? You get maybe a couple people in, or a couple of game sessions in, then you just lose somebody, right? They're just gone. So now, the next game, maybe you find somebody, you replace them, right? Part of your game is now taken up, part of your game time is taken up, introducing a new character, right? They drop like 2 games later. Next thing you know, you spent the better part, depending upon your schedule, of like 2 months, 3 months, trying to just introduce people to the game in some form or fashion and get them up to speed and have somebody else drop out, for whatever reason. And that kills the absolute momentum of the story. Like, take any story you can think of, like imagine Big Bang Theory. And you've got several characters, that start off, one just drops, and then they keep trying to, they have to shuffle unexpectedly, not expectedly, but unexpectedly. So now they have to keep rewriting parts of the show. They have to keep, readjusting some of the other character arcs. It's a pain. And one of the big reasons why I do this is because I want, it's bad when you think about it, at least initially, but it really isn't. I want people to really enjoy the game. I want people to enjoy coming to the game, and I want people to know that I'm striving for that extra level for them on their behalf, right? So the idea of just coming for fun is actually great, but that isn't where it stops, right? And of course, it goes to setting the expectations too. So, like, say for example, you guys get a group. You've got a great group of maybe 5 people, 4 fully vested, right? Maybe you got your paladin, you got your barbarian, you got a cleric, you got a wizard over here, and everybody's got kind of idea. You got this one person over here, who is lively, right? They seem to enjoy being there, they're having fun, but game in, game out, whether they're there, whether they're not, they have no idea what's going on. None, right? And then when they miss a couple games, they come back, and the first words out of their mouth is, what did I miss? Everything. After a while, that becomes a serious creative drain on the players and the person running that game. And it is completely dishonest. Not that people will think of it that way. It's completely dishonest of that individual to keep doing that to the group. Because, yeah, you're all still friends, right? That doesn't mean that stops, but it just means that you do have to have that conversation and say, hey, don't harsh my buzz, man, to put it in other terms. But in that sense, it's like, hey, let's talk. We need to hash this out. We can't keep doing this. We can't keep dragging you along, and then you just show up and yay, and throw some dice, and then you're gone for another 2 game sessions to come back. Is there something going on in your life? Can we help? Get invested if you can, if they let you in, and try to help them out. If they don't, and they just seem like they're flakes, they don't want to do the work, maybe it's time to move on.
You have to have the hard conversation.
Yeah. And that's where you're going to step in to a different mode of gaming. At that point, it becomes, gaming becomes a priority for you because you want that creativity. You want to be around your friends. You want that next level connection, right? Not just, in a way, think of it kind of like Critical Role without the voice acting. Like those people have been together a long time, right? So if one of them is actually out, it's a big deal for them. It's like, oh, maybe you're in a car accident, maybe whatever. Like at that point, you're not just making a gaming group, you're making a close-knit group of friends. And when you have that on top of the gaming, it's magic. It 100% is. Because at that point in time, you've made your own special social circle, like your own safety net, in the realm of the game that you're playing. It obviously doesn't have to, mix completely, but now you've got your own little safe zone. You've got a great group of friends that you can enjoy, and you're safe with them, and you're having fun. The laughs are going to be that much more. The inside jokes are going to be better. You're going to recall better instances of the game. It's a better way to take it, but sometimes it does take that conversation with certain people that may be on that cusp. And it doesn't mean you have to kick them completely out. Like they could turn it back around and be like, I get it. Maybe give me a couple game sessions. I really do have something going on, and I'll refocus. It doesn't have to be the final end. It just means you do have to have a conversation with them, in my opinion, to say, hey, this is what we're looking for. This is what we're striving for. And you're kind of dragging it along. How can we help you either pick up the pieces or meet us halfway somewhere? It's just an adult conversation.
And I know there's-
Hopefully it doesn't come to that.
Yeah, hopefully it comes.
And I don't know, there's been some situations where people have that inconsistent scheduling, and they bring in that player when they do come in as that, hey, here's that special NPC that showed up in this random place.
Like a recurring guest
Yeah.
character.
Yeah, it can work if they do something like that.
As long as they're
It's
communicating with the
Yes,
devs.
exactly, right.
And your DM is a lot more likely to write you exciting storylines if they know that you're going to be there to work with them. So-
Right, because in that particular case, they're gonna know, okay, again, that communication, it's like, okay, hey, next 2 weeks is hell week at work. You know, I've got a lot of overtime, I'm probably not gonna be able to make it. Okay, cool. Like, for example, Abby does, they do their own show out in Utah, kids theater and whatnot. So I know when it gets close to September, she's just going, okay, cool.
I am not here for September
Right.
at all.
Yeah, so it just, and as a storyteller, I can write around that. It's that adult conversation. It's like, hey, this is what, well, look at it, cool. I can figure that out. That works. You know, and then we can work, and we did. I had a character get kidnapped at one point and became a gigantic story arc, which I didn't tell her either. She's
I
just
was
like, oh,
what's happened?
my boyfriend really is a bad guy?
Oh,
What?
dang it.
So, but yeah, it can be fun, but both sides have got to have that conversation, that communication.
Yeah, I've run a game where the players are going to a certain player's hometown because they've got to go there and rescue their family, but then when that player can't make it, well,
Yeah.
what do we? Yeah,
Right.
Oh no,
Yeah.
we're stuck on the road being fought by goblins again. Dang it.
Well, it is actually 7 at
Yeah,
this point.
we're out of time.
So-
Any last words?
Role-playing games are a lot of fun.
Ah.
You should try them
Best.
at least once. Once you get like a group together and like it gels, it's the greatest thing of all time. Because you're making a movie with all of you together. It's
So we're proof of it. We physically came from a bunch of different states to do this convention, as our club. So yes, 100%.
My last question: are there any one-shot stuff going on at this event?
One shot.
Like at the
Oh, like
at
to
the
down-
expo?
like
Oh,
to
there
actually
are
downstairs.
there are
Yes,
tabletop
yes.
games you can get into.
All
yes.
the like the basement downstairs? Wait.
Yes. Mhm.
Not,
No,
where,
wait,
all
this is the first
not
one.
where all the vendors are,
Oh, okay.
but
There's
right
tabletop
before
in the
that.
hallway?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a
Oh, I
bunch
did
of
see
games.
them. Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if that.
Check.
that
The gang from Crit Hit, I think, were running the RPG. So if you talk to somebody at the table where you can check out the tabletop games,
Yeah.
ask them for the schedule.
Oh, okay, sure. Well, hopefully I'll see if they're welcoming up.
Yeah.
Like I have my character and stuff already drafted. I
One
don't
last
wanna
thing,
get-
don't be afraid to jump in and be the DM, and it's gonna be terrifying, but it's a good ride.
It's so much fun. If you like storytelling, I love DMing more than I love playing. I'm sorry, Drew. I love playing, but like that feeling of like, you've written this story for your friends and like running them through it, like it's so cool, especially.
I loved it too. I think my big concern is always the numbers. I'm like, I don't know.
You can fudge the numbers.
Okay.
You mean like dice rolls?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh yeah, you as a dungeon master, 100%. You can totally fudge it, but fudge it in their favor. Don't fudge it to kill them.
Also, we have merch and
Yes.
buttons, so
Yeah, keychains, buttons, and magnets.
Yes, if you would like some swag, come get some swag.
yeah. And if you want to watch our D&D game, Lost Tribes Gaming D&D game, we play every other Thursday.
For Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes.
But then we also have other games throughout the week. We've got essentially 1 week we have 3 games, and then 1 week we have 1. But it's at twitch.tv/losttribes.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Wow. Thank you
So
so much.
this is from
Tyler.
our superhero game.
Not a
This is from
problem.
our-
Thanks for coming by.
Our vampire game that's currently on hiatus. General. That's all a lot of fun.
What?
Oh, it's a chain. Oh,
It's a keychain.
Oh, what do I want?
You can have both.
I was like, I think I got it.
You can have both.
Oh, really? Oh.
My brother actually grew up.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And if you watch us on Twitch, drop in the chat and say hi.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Tell us where you found
We're
us.
pretty active.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah. Good
Have a
luck.
wonderful day.
Yeah, no, I love it. It was great. I had a great time out there. It was awesome.
Well, Allie disappeared. I don't know where she went.
Yeah, I don't know.
No problem. Thanks for stopping by.
Maybe she went
I
to
heard a baby, maybe the,
Just like,
yeah. Alrighty. We did it. We should dab as a group, everybody.
I'm too old for this.
Every time I dab, my students cringe. It's so worth it. I understand why dad jokes, like, it's a thing. I don't have kids, but like, when people are like, oh, I'm like, I feel power.
oh yeah, I got my 3 kids, so.
Yeah. Whenever I show my students that I know something that they think I
Shouldn't know.
Yeah.
You're too old to know this stuff.
Exactly. Like, it's always like, yeah. Or when I don't know things that I should know. Like, I tell my students all the time. I thought hitting the gritty meant going to get the drills.
I don't know